Hey guys, Sean C. Phillips here with a brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shop video today. Today I'm actually going out really early. It's like 8:30, so I never do these things this early. So sometimes when you do this, like they don't even have everything out yet. But I sort of just wanted to do this earlier today. Had a couple little other things I wanted to do today as well. And also going to be interesting to see how busy it is, because it's like now too. I don't really know how busy it would be this early. But sometimes people go out and do things really early. But you know, there's only like a couple days till Christmas, and this is like the last day or two of like real heavy duty Christmas shopping, and it's raining now, but pretty much just gonna go out, see what kind of stuff that came out today, if there's anything on sale, if there's anything interesting out today. May go at one or two different places, not really sure, may just go to the regular spots. But anyway though guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Target we go. You know, the main stuff that came out today was Pan, which was not bad. I didn't absolutely love that one. I believe the Scorch Trials was last week. Yeah, Fantastic Four is last week. It's a pretty small week. I know this one came out as well, Pawn Sacrifice. I don't know much at all about this, so let me know if this one is worth checking out or not. It's pretty much just like this week, and like I said, Pan. And I don't think too much else, even like TV-wise, I don't think so. I think most of this stuff was all the last couple weeks. I also want to let you guys know too, at the end of this video, I'm going to have a couple new DVD and Blu-ray reviews, and also I'm still going to have an update as well this weekend. I'm going to be reviewing one thing too. I've gotten so many messages about if I've seen it, what I thought of it. The movie called Turbo Kid was really fun movie, but I'm going to review that one, my update this weekend. But like I said, there's going to be some new DVD and Blu-ray reviews though at the end of this video as well. Into the Walmart neighborhood market we go. And no, there's no DVDs or Blu-rays in here. This is one of those Walmart, market only, where it's only, market items and things like that in here. But there's like a couple of random things in here I have to get. Like I said, it's going to be a shopping, Blu-ray DVD Tuesday video, but it's also going to be me kind of going and getting some random things as well that I have to do just to make sure I have them. And there's like certain times you just have to go and get certain things you need to have, like weird items and stuff. And this market is like the weirdest one to find stuff. Like they have all these weird types of things in here. Like in here, like this soup, like this certain soup, this chicken with vegetables and rosemary. For some reason, it's the only location I've ever found this soup. That's like one of the things I have to come here to get. Like there's just like some weird sporadic soups and weird stuff in this market you can only find here for some reason. It's like they kind of order stuff too that are kind of more East Coast items and stuff like that as well in here, which I kind of noticed. Into the Valley Thrift Store we go. Yeah, I found some really obscure thing in there. This one movie, I'll show you guys when we go to the car, but yeah, sometimes in these places you see like the same old stuff, and then every so often, like something jumps out, I'm like, that looks weird. I gotta look that up and see the value of that one. And one thing in there that I looked up, I'm like, yeah, it's like $53 or something. So I'm like, I definitely have to get it. It actually looks kind of interesting, and I've never heard anything about it ever. It almost seems like, I'll show you in the car though what it is, but it's pretty interesting. Well, I ended up finding two different things in there. The one that's kind of more common, this is like a Blockbuster copy of it, is, Inland Empire, which I think is like $20. It's like a David Lynch movie, which I have never seen before. And one of the few ones I've never seen. But this one was the one that looks like it's like $52 or something. It's kind of like a 3 Men and a Baby movie. I don't know if it was like before 3 Men and a Baby might have been a remake of this, or this was like a movie that was kind of remaking or knocking off 3 Men and a Baby. I don't know. But it actually says on the back, Tower Record and Video. So it's kind of cool that it actually says on the back, Tower Record and Video. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to open this or not. It says inspired by the Blockbuster American remake, Friends Coming and Inspired. So the 3 Men and a Baby was actually a remake of this movie, which I never even heard of in my life, called 3 Men in a Cradle. And this is like a company called Home Vision Entertainment. It's a French film. I guess this came out in 2005, but for some reason it sells for like $53 and even an up, unopened. This has never been opened, this copy of this. Let me know if you guys have actually seen this one, but every so often you can find some weird things in, these kind of places. Not always. A lot of times it's like the same common things, but I don't know how this one ended up in there. But like I saw it, I was like definitely wanted to look up. It was only $2, and it's not, $2 is not a bad price at all for that. So we'll see where we go next. Into the Salvation Army Family Store we go. So, gonna look through here and see if there's anything different, but I doubt I'm gonna find anything like I did in the other place, though, because those are really, really, like, sporadic to find, those two ones, because they're pretty weird ones. Into the Goodwill I go. And, you know, I looked through the Salvation Army, there was nothing different in there. They had a lot more DVDs than normal, but it was all really, really super common stuff, though. I've seen this in a lot of places today. This is actually harder to find, but not a super hard one to find. In the sushi-ya we go. So I ended up getting the vegetable roll here, and they have it like in a unique kind of different wrapping, like a different type of seaweed or some kind of a different type of wrap than like the normal one at this location. California. No, vegetable rolling, not California. Into Walmart we go. It's funny, they're already selling in Walmart the like digital version of the, you know, Star Wars The Force Awakens. It comes with like 3 collectible posters and stuff like that. It's funny how they're already doing this. I heard they were like gonna be doing real early pre-orders of this. But it seems like it's a lot of the same stuff in here, like nothing really new this week that's come out. Because like all this stuff like Shark Lake was one of the last couple weeks. Goodnight Mommy, you know, Holiday Horror Story, you know, they changed the name like I've talked about in the past videos. But there's nothing too different in here today, it seems. It seems like a lot of the same kind of stuff that was here the last couple of weeks. You know, pretty much. I think this might have been today, Lost in the Sun. I don't know too much about this one at all, if this one's worth checking out or not. But I believe this one came out today. I'm not 100% certain. But nothing else too weird or obscure that came out in here this week, it seems. Yeah, definitely not much out today release-wise. But like I said, I found that out of print thing. We'll go to Best Buy, though, and see if there's anything else different there. But not too many things that came out this week. Into Best Buy we go. Yeah, it seems pretty much like the main thing today, like I said, was Pan. They have the, you know, the Pan. It's also in 3D. Doesn't seem to be any exclusive editions, though, of that one. But besides that, I don't think there was too much else today. Like I said in the other stores, pretty small release week for new releases and stuff. Like I said, I think the only other thing was like Lost Sun. The front they have The Wiz, the new one that was just aired on TV. I think this one was today as well. Dragon's Blade, don't know too much about this one. And this also might have been today as well. 12 Rounds 3, I believe that was today. But besides that, like I said, it's a really pretty small week, and I think next week is really small as well. I think later in January things kind of pick up and there's more stuff out, but as of right now, there's really just not too much stuff out today. That's why I was trying to go to some other different places and stuff, but also just wanted to see if there's anything different on sale, and it doesn't seem to be too much stuff today. So that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Like I said, not too much out today, but just wanted to go out and see if I could see anything different, but really not a whole lot came out today. But I did find that out of print thing, which was actually a pretty cool find. But anyway though, guys, now stay tuned for a couple new DVD and Blu-ray reviews, and like I said, I'm gonna have my main update up as well this weekend, so definitely be on the lookout for that as well. So thanks again for watching and subscribing. I'll see you guys later. Bye. And the first one I got from Vertical Entertainment is Eden. This is basically a movie very much like Lord of the Flies, kind of modern day Lord of the Flies movie. It's about a soccer team that ends up, you know, that plane ends up crashing, and they end up, you know, a number of them end up dying, but they, you know, the ones that survive end up washing up on this island. And it's kind of them getting up on the island and first of all trying to figure out what they're going to do, and they all kind of start having like clashes and all kinds of issues with each other, and kind of just like with Lord of the Flies, kind of like forming different groups, and you know, certain people want to be like the leader of the groups, and they're kind of like, they all have their ideas about how they think they can get rescued and what they think they should do and how they're going to survive there, and kind of like how they're going to divvy up the food and all those kind of things. And that's pretty much the idea of it. The one guy who's in this movie was from the show Scream Queens, who was the one's boyfriend on that show. it was a pretty cool kind of like modern day kind of, like I said, Lord of the Flies kind of things about people who, strand up on islands and stuff like that. And I always like these kind of, one setting kind of on, island kind of shows when it's all kind, films when it's kind of all kinds of issues in them, trying to figure out how they're going to survive. Like my favorite movie that always has it on, on an island. For some reason, has always been the one that Disney made, Shipwrecked, which hopefully someday down the line gets a Blu-ray release, something like that. But that's always been one of my all-time favorite, stuck on island movies. The next one, this is one I was interested in seeing for a while, and this is from Accelerator Media. This is from, called The Diabolical. This is, Ali Lauder film that she stars in. It's pretty much about her in this house that she's in, and she's getting haunted by this really creepy kind of creature, this really like weird, like faceless kind of deformed face, weird creature. And it basically starts with her, like with the, paranormal hunters there in the house, and they kind of go in there and they basically say, oh, we can't do it. We can't deal with this. And it basically, this creature or whatever it is that's haunting the house and then the family and her kids creeps out the paranormal and, investigators so much that they basically just leave and say, oh, we can't deal with this. You're going to have to figure something else out, find somebody else that can do it. They basically get scared off, and it's basically her with her family, and things start getting really terrible in the house. Like if they try and leave, weird stuff happens to the kids, and they kind of get like all these lines and these weird things going on their face, and basically like it's like they're having problems leaving the house. And it's kind of her with her boyfriend trying to figure out if he can figure out the history of the house and what exactly is this demon that's kind of possessing them, and why they're being targeted by this, and why all the kind of things that are happening to them is. And that's basically what it is. It has on here though a commentary as well by the filmmakers, but it's actually a pretty creepy, kind of insidious kind of vibe, modern day haunted house film. The next one from E1, this is a kind of interesting concept called Sinkhole, and it's basically about a group of these kids who are going on a trip, like a school trip, and they're all together on the bus, and there's kind of a natural disaster that happens, and there's all these sinkholes that open up all around the state that they're in. Eric Roberts is playing like the cop in this movie, and like he's not like believing it at first, and he's kind of like goofing around, and then he figures out that it is real, and then people have been trapped in this sinkhole, and it deals with two, like in the beginning of the movie there was this the protest, these kids that are protesting this, factory, a plant there. It was doing all this stuff, and there was an accident there, and the one mother dies in it, or the mother or the father dies in it, and then they're holding on a grudge on them because the ones that they're on the bus with's father is the head of this company. But it's basically though the kids in this bus get trapped down in the sinkhole, and they're kind of figuring out how they're going to survive down there, and the people who are there trying to find them and trying to get them out of the sinkhole. That's essentially what the plot of it was. It was actually pretty cool, like weird kind of end of the world kind of vibe. It really wasn't like the end of the world because it was in this one area, but it was that kind of like, natural disaster kind of movie. The next one is pretty cool, and this was called, this is from E1 as well, and this is called Indigenous. No, Indigenous. And this is basically about a group of people who go on to a vacation, and they're kind of bringing along their cameras and kind of filming everything, and they go down, I think it was in South America, I believe. They go down to like the islands down there, and they find out about this certain area where it kind of connects, where you could basically drive to Alaska or something like this. Like if you drove, like the places didn't connect, and there wasn't this part of this tropical rainforest, you could actually drive through this, but this rainforest makes it so it's basically impossible. Like I don't know what the name of the thing was called. I get some kind of a plane or something. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but I know it's a real thing. But they basically find out about this, and they hire someone to take them down there. Of course, they get down there, and there's certain like these some kind of creatures out there, and they've heard rumors not to go down there. It's basically them though, kind of trying to survive out in this wilderness area and in the jungle with these creatures coming after them and trying to kill them. But it's actually pretty cool, like pretty creepy, weird movie about them out there in the middle of nowhere, by themselves out there trying to survive. Then the next one, this was a really fun movie. This is from SRS Cinema. I really like this. This is called Teenage Slumber Party Massacre, and it's a real cool, old school retro cover on this. I think the movie was made for like, I looked online for like $100 or something. It's like, but sometimes like movies that are really micro budget like this have like no budget at all, or sometimes the most fun movies. And like this one to me was really fun, and it's basically about these three girls that are kind of I think they were like 16 or something, and they're planning to have a like slumber party, and then everybody was like older playing kids, and there's this one guy who was probably like in his 40s or something. He looked like he was way older, and he was like acting like he was 15 or something, and they didn't want anything to do with this guy, and he's basically going around killing them, and he's putting on this mask, and there's scenes of him, and he says these ridiculous stuff like, wears a mask, he's like, I'm a powerful old man, like just like you want an older man, and it's really ridiculous deaths in this movie. Like I said, it's super cheap. Like the deaths are like in pillows and stuff. I don't know. I really like this movie. It was, like I said, it's basically just these girls getting killed off, and they're like just drinking beers and just sort of sitting around talking about things and having like these long discussions about stuff. But it was just really ridiculous. The music in this was really fun. But if you like these kind of silly like throwback shot and video movies, check this out. The next one, this is from Cinedigm. This one I'd heard a lot about this one, was interested in checking this out, and it's called The Legend of Wasco. The one guy in this movie too, Jason Crow, I know, so I was just interested in seeing this movie. But like I said, it's called The Legend of Wasco, and it's basically about like this clown, like kind of the clown like that you saw these viral pictures of in the street. It's kind of like a take on that. It's about these three clowns that like in this town back years back, it killed all these people. They went crazy and killed people in the woods, and it's kind of like the legend of these killer clowns, and the one guy is with his girlfriend, and the one's brother comes down to visit, and he finds out that he dresses as a clown at this car wash and has all this clown makeup and stuff. So he comes up with the idea of taking kind of viral pictures and of dressing like this clown, the clown that was killing everybody, and kind of trying to freak people out, post them online. Of course, them messing around with this legend and taking these pictures actually brings out the real clowns. So then the real clowns come back to life and start, killing people around the town. So it's all these people getting killed off, and it's also the police are kind of coming to them because they've discovered that they're the ones posting these pictures. So it's kind of like them thinking that they might have some kind of involvement in these clowns because they haven't seen these clowns in years. So that's essentially what it was. It's like a crazy killer clown movie about these clowns going around killing everybody in this town. I like this. I always like, killer clown kind of movies and stuff like that. The next one, this one wasn't really my kind of movie, but it's an Alex Ross Perry movie. This is from IFC, and it's basically, though, it's Elizabeth Moss, and it's basically, her, and she just got over this breakup with her boyfriend, and she goes to stay in this kind of cabin with her friend that they kind of go to all the time. It's kind of their little tradition of going there, and it cuts back and forth to her there the year before when everything was better, when she was with her boyfriend then, and she was happy. It kind of deals with kind of depression and all that kind of stuff because it kind of cuts back and forth to her there now, crying and really depressed about the way things went with her life, and her trying to deal with her friend, and they really don't like each other, and they hardly get along at all, and they kind of have all these kind of discussions and kind of picking apart their lives with each other, and that's pretty much what it is just kind of about depression and about like her life, and showing how things can change so much in a period of time in a year. And like I said, it wasn't totally my type of movie, but it really was a well-made film, though. And the last one from Wild Eye Releasing is a documentary, and this is called The Life of Death. This has a bunch of different people on here: Lloyd Kaufman, Debbie Rochon, Tom Sullivan. It's basically a documentary, basically talking to people in the horror arena and talking to them about their take on death and how death, influences their filmmaking or their writing, and how they feel about their views on certain things. It's basically just like a documentary asking them different types of questions and stuff like that on their takes and thought about things, about the afterlife, and all their takes on horror movies and all that kind of stuff. And that's essentially what it is just a lot of interviews talking to people about, in the horror world about that stuff. It was a lot of different interviews on here, and I thought it was, a lot of writers and things like that. So if you guys are interested in that, in documentaries and basically like questions kind of stuff, and they have clips from some of the horror movies that they're in and things like that. So it's a pretty cool documentary piece. Anyway, though, that's all for the review portion of this video. Thanks again, guys, for watching or subscribing, and I'll see you guys later.